here. I'm going to hit you with this real quick. We're moving on to the series of the Sun Holo Marshmallow style tutorials. And in this first step, we're going to be looking at the whole drum sequence that I have for the drop, the second drop, and the verse sections. So I'm just going to start playing it. So that's the idea for the drop section for the first one. That's the verse, and then for the second drop we just have a little bit of a variation, which is basically these chord claps. Alright, so let's get into it. I want to talk about the drop section first because I want to talk about my sub bass. Now, I have these samples here that are 808s tuned to these keys that you're seeing that are labeled here. And I'll play that for you. So it's obviously following the sequence of the bass line and that process. And all I have going on in that is just the utility on there to turn this sub bass into mono. It's really heavy, and like I said, I mean, you can go ahead and use maybe like an 808 synth bass that you might have with a plugin, but I just went ahead and used this sample because I like the way that these sound. They're really heavy, and that basically acts as my kick. Now I have a top kick on it that gives it more transient and punch as it plays. As far as getting that transient kick, it's from the Vengeance Dubstep 2 pack, and it's just this. What I did to it is cut out some of the low end, don't need any of that, we already have that in the 808, and then just kind of shaped some of the frequencies here. And then over here I have a transient designer, just to kind of increase that attack a little bit. So very subtle, but adds that punch that I need for the beginning of that kick. That's with, that's without. So it makes a difference with the punch, especially during a drop. You want to have that. This is a pretty easy one. I mean, honestly, I literally just took a hi-hat loop from the Somatic Trap Style sample pack, which you guys may not be impressed by that, but the only thing I do want to add is really more of the processing about that. Because making these style of hi-hat loops, I mean, you can go ahead and kind of like zoom in on this, kind of copy the pattern, you know, hi-hat here and there, and just do whatever. But the processing is what I want to look at. So I go in here and I take off a lot of those low-end frequencies just because I want to get rid of the reverb that's on those hi-hat samples. So let me show you the difference. Let me take off all these. This is what it sounds like. Now let's apply the EQ. So it concentrates those higher frequencies a little bit more in this area where I boosted, and like I said, it just gets rid of some of the lower end reverb tail that we have. And then this is the special part, the auto pan. It gives it a lot of width by bringing it back and forth between the left and the right stereo spectrum. And so let me give you an example of what that is on and off. So this is off. And this is on. It feels like it's cycling in your head. I like that processing. So that's really it. Now I want to add a foundational piece of advice when it comes to snares. I'll just play the sample for you real quick. So it's that clunky perk type Jack U snare that you hear a lot lately. But what I want to emphasize with this is that with my snares, I rarely give them too much rhythm. It's on, you know, on every half beat. Right here, and then it just goes on. So it's boom, clap, boom, clap. But the way that I'm going to get rhythm is with those hi-hats, but also I'm getting the boom of that boom clap is coming from these 808s, and that's where I really kind of get some rhythm out of it. But don't, you know, getting that offbeat kind of thing. So I do that, and that's how I kind of use the rhythm. But I always want to keep the snare as a foundation piece where it's always going to be constant. People can get into the snare and just like kind of go with that. And it doesn't matter what is going on with the hi-hats, the kick, or anything. The snare is going to be like on that half beat, and it's just going to work. So I always just leave that alone and try not to mess too much with that. Now we're going to go into the verse section where I have more beat. It's exactly the same. The only difference is because I don't use that 808 bass because I don't want it on all of my verse section. I'll play that section for you here. I have no sub bass there. I don't want any sub bass there. So I didn't want to use this 808 sample. Instead, I went and got the Vengeance Dubstep 2 pack and found a kick there, and I think it's the same one that I use as the click kick on the drop on top of the sub. And so that's all I did is I have this kick and the snare. Leave that low end on there. Nothing too special there. Now I have a cymbal here. Cymbal crash that you hear in just any hip hop song you might find. Now the only difference here is that when I do want to add bass, I did it with the Nexus under the bass pack. There's a basic sign, and this is it right here. I'll play it. But the reason I use that is because I don't want too much complications. It's a very simple pattern. It's just following that bass line, whole notes, and all I did there was, like I said, I got the basic sign preset, auto filter to get rid of all those high frequencies, auto filter here to transition it in and out of certain sections of the song. Like, let's see, auto filter, resonance, frequency. So I start, in the build, I start. So that's what I use that auto filter for. And then I just have a utility at the end with the width at 0% just to make sure it's in mono. And that's pretty much it. Now, in the second drop, exactly like the first, but like I said, the only thing that I added there were these torque claps. So there's a lot of width in those, and all I did was cut some low frequencies, boost it a little bit over 1K. I have my utility that's spreading this in and out, getting it from wide, like really wide, kind of bringing it down, wide again, bring it back down, just kind of giving it that variation. I have some reverb on there. It gives it a splashier sound. And then same with the thing that I did with the hi-hats, I added a little bit of auto pan to give it some more direction. So it's a little bit more sterile when it's just going in one direction. And then with the auto pan it gives it more rhythm. That's pretty much it for this tutorial. It's a very quick look at the simple drums that I use for this song. For the most part, like I said, really nothing to worry about when it comes to these kinds of things. You want to keep it simple because the real character is going to come from the synths and stuff that you add in these kinds of songs. It's really a weird thing, and a lot of the MIDI stuff is where it gets more complicated. In the next tutorial, we're going to be looking at this part of the song. Now that's a piece of the song where it has two different characters depending on where you are in the song. So here is very different than what you're experiencing there. So I'm going to go into depth about how I transformed the sound and what I did to get there, some of the automation that I did here and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it, and then I'll keep you guys going as we further on in the tutorial series. So thanks for watching. I'll include in the description down below a download link for this sample pack of drums, and I'm going to hook you guys up. I've already expressed in the comments that I'm not going to give out the whole project file, but I will share the presets I'm using, the synths and stuff like that. That way if you guys want to recreate it, that's cool, but because this is one of my own original releases, I'm just not going to give away the project itself. But have at it, take a little bit from this and just see how you can apply it to your own productions, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for the latest videos every Monday and Wednesday, and click on this box here for the latest video. Keep on producing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.